The Beef and Barnzy Show, brought to you by BowlersMart.com, trusted by bowlers around the world since 2004. By Lightning Strikes Bowl, home of Bowlers Mart Pro Shop. By Platinum Ford, drive the difference. By Fire Lake Bowling Center, 24 state-of-the-art lanes. By True Grit Coatings, drive on our passion. By Road to Grip, king of them all. By 900 Global, striking worldwide.
Good morning, people. Welcome back to the Beef and Barnzy Show. Chris is bowling. I have no idea how he's getting on because I can't seem to get the Lane Pals app to update the scores today. So if anybody knows how that's going, let me know. Yeah. But we are back from Nationals. I have a new ball that I've tested, tried out, whatever we want to call it. Yeah, so let me know, guys. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with Nationals? Do we want to start with the new Ultimate Wrecker? Yeah, let me know. So Lil G, great bowling. I was able to watch games 2 to 6 from the stand. I thought you were going to take over the lead in singles and all events. Yeah, it was looking pretty nice. Going into that third game of singles, unfortunately, missed transition, I think. Hey Glenn, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the super chat. Nico, good morning. Mr. Hendershot, greetings. David, morning to you. What's going on, Patrick? We are I was Mr. Hustle for team event to start with. Hey Eli, Gabriel, Big Shot, what's going on? It went pretty well. Hey Lorenzo. So everybody wants me to start with Nationals. Mike, watching the women's. Yep, women's stop. Hey James, thanks for driving down. Thanks for watching. You and Ryan cheering me on. So appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. So let's get started. Let me just I tell you what. Bowl.com. Let me pull up my scores so we can have a look at that. Nope, wrong one. Sorry, I should have done this earlier. Right, here we go. Okay, so let me just add this in. Share screen. I'm almost there, people. I'm sorry. So there we go. These are my scores. Morning, Ryan. Yeah. Thanks, Billy. So yeah, team event. Started off pretty well. I was using a hustle. Team event is extremely challenging. I'm still at a bit of a loss for exactly why team event is quite how it is. But on the pair we were on, at least, the right lane was way tighter down lane, lane 14. That was the same for Rob Law. Robert Lawrence bowled the squad before us, and he had the same issues. So we kind of tried to play to the right. Started off, threw my first shot at like 6, and it plastered the 3-6. Didn't even think about hooking with an XL. So ended up kind of abandoning trying to play that far right because I just didn't see. It felt like almost a little bit like one of those Tetris style patterns that Nick's been doing, where there was like the multiple speed bumps to the right or whatever. Because the ball just felt like it slowed down, then it accelerated, and just looked awful. So anyway, moved in a little bit. Ended up starting probably 12, 13 to about 9. Playing fairly straight using a Hustle X-Ray. Got out of that in the 10th frame. Once the pattern started to stretch, it became really challenging to use that X-Ray, because once I started to get my hand around it, the ball really hooked. And when I was up the back of it, it kind of just missed it because of the carrot, because the lanes had transitioned a little bit. See, I don't think the topography is awful at all. I just think that we're so used to the patterns being easier by the inbuilt part of the lane, the track, that when we play on lanes that are closer to flat, then it's not conducive to high scores anymore. I think they did a fairly decent job with the install. If you look at those books, the online stuff, most of those colors that are on it are really light. There's no really dark spots on the lanes. Whereas at South Point, before they redid the lanes, a lot of the lanes were kind of dished, so there was a lot of hook off the gutter. So that's bad topography that's good for scores, if that makes sense. So anyway, True House Bowler. Hey Stu, last year after you bowled last year, recommended 2 patterns to practice on. What do you recommend this year? I appreciate your insight. Well, if I was you guys, I would practice on, for the singles and doubles, I would just practice on last year's singles and doubles pattern. I didn't find them to be massively different to last year. Maybe a little bit more hook down the lane. So I felt like became a little bit more cliffed for me than last year. But like, I think last year's singles and doubles pattern will be a good starting point for that. For the team pattern, I mean, it's a little difficult because what you really want to practice on is you want to practice on something that's probably around 38 feet, I would think. But you've got to understand that, like, for me anyway, outside of 6 really wasn't in play. So you want to really be practicing rolling the ball off your hand really forward, I think. I think guys with higher rev rates who are going to be able to break the lanes down a little bit quicker and be able to move left are going to have a little bit of an advantage on that one. I think actually a little less rev rate on the singles and doubles is going to be advantageous. Yeah, that's what I felt like. Maybe I've been using too much surface, but seeing my harsh reality should be angular down lane led to my highest all events by 200 back in March. Yeah, I mean, like, for me, maybe the harsh reality, I'm not sure. Harsh, was that on team that you bowled with the harsh solid? I could see the harsh solid being really good on singles and doubles. But anyway, I started off with the hustle, and then I kind of got a little bit lost. Changed to an equinox, and of course I struck in the 10th frame. Changed to that. That wasn't really the right option. Went to an attention star. It kind of looked okay. I got the double in the 10th, which kind of saved me a little bit. But the left lane was fine. The right lane was just like a little bit tighter down the lane. It was really easy to 210 on that lane. So I actually, one of the guys who was born with us, Bobby, he was using Ion Max on the right lane, and he was using the Origin on the left lane. So I ended up started using the XL on the right lane and the Attention Star on the left lane. The last game, I actually had pretty good game going and opened in the 8th frame. I think that overall, I would say that we got to about 24 at the arrows, kind of getting out to about, 9, 10. That's why I think that if some of the guys with a little bit higher rev rate can get left a little faster, getting through that first game is going to be a bit of a bitch. But once you get through that first game, I feel like you're going to be able to have some angle to create some hold, but be able to avoid the out of bounds to the right. So, yes, that would be where I kind of see that team pattern. I feel like that team pattern is going to be a little easier if you can get left. I saw a couple of teams playing to the right the first game, and like Chad Kloss's team, shout out to them, born with Mitch Beasley and Will Welch and Tucker. They took the lead in team all events. They bowled really, really well. 32-50, I think, in team, and their guys got them pretty good. Kind of doing what I was doing the first game. I didn't get to see how they broke it down after that, but I would imagine that it didn't work out too great for them getting left because Mitch is the best at hooking it on their team, and he had the lowest score. So team is like, I don't know whether it was just the pair we were on. But anyway, coming back for singles and doubles. Last year I used a absolute power. This year I ended up using XL, kind of the similar type of balls, fairly clean covers, but with a stronger core. I shot sort of 230 with a couple of opens and then 240. I felt like the lanes were getting a little bit cliffed. So what I did was I moved left a little sooner, got into my DNA coil. Didn't love the shape, surprisingly, but managed to get the front 9. Got a couple of decent light hits and stuff. And it always felt like it wasn't quite reading the pattern how I wanted it to. Threw it terrible in the 10th. Changed into the Equinox. Equinox looked great until probably 5th frame of singles. And yeah, probably needed to get out of it, get into an attention star. Front part of the lane was just starting to go, and because of how the lanes were and how much oil's on that pattern, it kind of the ball picked up too soon, so it wouldn't get to the spot. And then once it kind of squared up onto the oil, it was missing it pretty bad. So little disappointing. Bad last 5 frames again. Similar to last year. Last year I was gutted because I felt like that score was probably going to win. I don't feel like 2158 is going to win. So only just beating 2158, which is the current leader, Cassidy Schaub. I don't think that score is going to hold up. I think someone's going to bowl a little closer to 2200, but like I say, we will see. Yeah. It looked like big balls were served in doubles and singles. It just floated and never saw it. But Hybrid and Pearl played well, keeping it in front of you. Yeah, I can see that for some guys. Like for me, I felt like every time USBC do one of these type patterns, if I use too big of a ball, it kind of like gets on top of the oil and burns up a little bit. So I kind of like those strong balls with the slightly weaker covers. So like Absolute Power, XL, yeah, those type of balls. Yeah, I think they've worked a little better for me, and then getting into something a little quicker like Equinox or Attention Stars or DNA Coils, those type of balls. Hey, how do you think Origin EX? For me, the Origin EX might have had a chance on the Teamer pattern, being as it's so smooth. Yeah, I mean, a couple of the guys see a bit more shape out of it than I do, so maybe singles and doubles for some guys. Ultimate Wrecker for me would probably only be good if you were bowling with a group that had a bit more rev rate for singles. If you got forced a little bit too far left, but I don't necessarily think that's the best way. Was good. I heard getting left of 16 at the arrows was no go for team, but sounds like you guys disagree with that. Lol. Yeah, I mean, I guess it depends. Always. I wouldn't think that was probably the best idea on the fresh, but I think that pattern breaks down. I think if you've got a group that breaks that pattern down, you can stretch it a little bit. I think getting left is going to be the answer, but I mean, it's all relative. I only bowled on one pair, so maybe that was the right thing on the pair I bowled on. Here's a good question. I've actually been thinking about this a little bit. It says, knowing what you know now, how would you change your ball selection, if at all? I don't know that I would have changed my ball selection, but I don't think I would have got quite as far left on team as quickly. Like maybe the second game I would have been better moving a little bit and going with the cell, something a little smoother. The problem was, well, I threw the cell in the practice and it hooked way too much. And B, the fill shot that I threw, it was the second shot, the 10th that I threw with the Equinox was perfect. So it was kind of difficult to ignore that. But I think that would have been the only thing I would have done. And then I think in hindsight, when I was bowling the 280, I should have thrown the attention star on the fill. It just felt like that the Equinox, I felt like it was a weak enough ball that it would have stayed in play. And I was trying to get as many pins as I could, for all events and for doubles and singles. For singles. But in hindsight, throwing the attention star on that fill shot, I think would have given me a look. So knowing that once I started to see the ball burning up, I could have gone straight into it and kind of known what it was going to do, I think is probably the one change I would have made. It was the regular attention star. Yeah. For what? So mainly just box finishes on that probably like 2,000 on the Hustle X-Ray, and then maybe 1,500 on the cell to start with, and then it was just the box finish polishes on the other balls. Yeah. I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know there's any plans of it right now, but yeah, hope so. Team. I think the Rockstar would have been too strong and then too weak for what I wanted to do. For me, that on the pair we were on, we couldn't really get it away from the head pin, so that's why the Hustle X-Ray made the most sense for me to start with. That made the most sense to start with. And then after that, I felt like I kind of like the asymmetrical balls a little bit better. But yeah, I've seen a few people trying to use Rockstar. Yeah, I'm not really 100% sure where it fits for me right now. I still haven't got a good sense on that one. And when you put as much money as we do up in brackets and stuff, I kind of want to use the balls that I really know where they fit. So it was kind of the ones that I have the most faith in that I went with. Ben, we tried to stay right towards the outer bounds, but it just caused more issues because 5-6 were not right down. Yeah, that's exactly how I saw it. When I threw my first shot, super slow, and it just, like I say, it just plastered the 3-6. I just didn't really see any value in trying to do that. Yeah. I would pretty much always recommend the pitch blacks. I think they're just a little easier to use. I think they're in play for a little longer as well. So yeah, and then with having to be a little bit further left, I think the only time I'd really recommend the IQ 78 is when you're playing kind of right and you want to be really get it to freeze up and stop. Yeah. Yeah. That's kind of the only way I'd use an IQ 78. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, like I say, I can see for some guys that would be the deal. It's just for me, when you put that cheddar down, you kind of want to use the balls that you really like kind of know. It's kind of why I left the Origin EX at home. I didn't want to get tempted into using something that I didn't really know what it did. So for me, it's all about the lanes are hard enough that I don't think there's like a perfect matchup ball wise. So going with the ones that you have the most confidence in, I think, is the most important thing. Rotocrip, Hustle, Rapster. For me, the Origin is much stronger cover wise. So Origin is earlier and a bit more overall hook. I think the Equinox for me, even though it's a bit cleaner, I almost think it's a little bit more continuous than the Origin. I think the Origin's a little quicker and then can get a little bit more forward, whereas the Equinox is a little bit more rounded. Feel like I can use it on a few more things. Yeah, that's kind of where I see those two balls. Do I have any more questions about? I tell you what, let's have a look at this Wrecker. I didn't really. I'm sorry, Steve. I didn't really. Didn't really see much. Speaking of the new Origin, how's it compared to the XL? I think that the new Origin is earlier than the XL and quite a bit smoother. For me, XL is much more down lane motion. Probably a bit more hook overall. I feel like the new Origin is earlier and way smoother for me. Right, let's have a look at this Wrecker. So I got it drilled yesterday. I took it down to the center and tried to get a video done, but I kind of could only record from one angle because people were bowling next to me, and I didn't want to stand in the middle of the approach, like just chatting away. So this is just a house shot. The thing I noticed most about this was this ball is pretty strong. Way stronger than like Typhoon, which is similar numbers, which is kind of how the Wrecker was when it originally came out. That ball was really cover strong. It seems like this one could be along the similar path, kind of that high RG or higher RG, kind of medium diff. And like I say, I'm not sure it's going to be the house shot ball for me. Don't really like symmetrical balls on the house shot, but I could see after like that first transition, you could kind of get into it. Maybe a little cleaner than something like a Zen was, which makes sense with it being higher RG. But like I say, I felt like it was really strong, like in terms of where it was number wise, rather than say Typhoon. I think it's probably, for me, it's a little bit of a step up from a Road Warrior as well. I think this is more down lane motion than the Road Warrior as well. Overall, I think guys with a little more speed. See, here's the Typhoon. Looks pretty good there. And then this one pushes a little bit too far and then doesn't really get around it. And then I kind of move to the spot. Now, this one gets way further right, but I think that gets way further right because it doesn't pick up anywhere near as soon. as this ball does. Like that one picks up when it gets to that spot. Like I say, I think that it's a step up from Road Warrior as well. This hybrid cover, fairly strong. I think it might be a good ball off something like an Origin, where you have another pretty cover strong ball. I think this could be a good complement to that. Something, a symmetrical option off that. So, yeah, overall, I think it's going to be a useful piece. I don't think that we've got something that fits really in that gap right now. So that's always fun to add, add something in that part of the bag. So yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to using that one a little more. Equinox is the closest thing to the Absolute. Bit of a step up, to be honest. But yeah, Equinox is definitely my replacement for the Absolute. Hustle Drive By. Not sure they're going to use that name. The Ascent is gone. What ball is a smooth step down from a rock star? Good question. Ion Pro, maybe. Yeah, Ion Pro might be an option there. Origin EX and Ion Pro for Nationals. Any surface judgments lower than 800 needed? No, I don't think so. I think you could probably not need to be that dull, to be honest. But yeah, I think Ion Pro could have a decent chance in team event as well. That's another one. For me, when I threw the Hustle and I saw how that was, I felt like the Ion Pro was going to be a little bit too much down lane. Where would you put the Wrecker compared to Zen 25? That's a good question. Like Zen 25 has got a pretty clean cover on it, I feel like. So yeah, without throwing them side by side, I don't have exactly the same layouts. If they're both drilled the same, the Zen 25 is going to be stronger because it's got so much more flair that it's going to pick up earlier. I drilled the Zen 25 quite weak, and I drilled the Wrecker kind of a little stronger, like a 5 1/4 with a 2 1/4 inch buffer. So it's kind of hard to say. I think that you're going to find that the Zen 25 is earlier, just because of the core. But the cover's a little cleaner. So yeah, overall, I think that the Zen 25 is probably a little stronger, but just in a kind of a different way. Wrecker, I feel like is probably going to dig in a little bit more, but maybe hook a little less overall. Hey Ryan, nice to see you. Hey, that's a good picture. Saw a couple of hyperdrives, singles and doubles. Do you think that mold might have been in play? Yeah, I think hyperdrive. That was another one where I just had more experience with the cell. So yeah, because I'd had more experience with the cell, I didn't take hyperdrive. But hyperdrive. If this event was probably 3 months later and I'd had a little bit more chance to use the hyperdrive, I may well have been in the hyperdrive to start with. It might have been a little better because I might have been able to be a little firmer. But the cell did me fine. But yeah, I think hyperdrive could be pretty good on singles and doubles also. Well, here's the deal. We've added AI core to everything now. So everything's a little different core wise anyway, because we've got that AI, and cover stocks aren't anything close. So I think that A little bit, yes, and maybe the shape. Maybe the shape is pretty similar core wise, but the numbers will probably be a little different. But it's in the same ballpark for sure. So it's not an exact remake, but yes, I feel like it's kind of a replacement. Hey, Mr. Realtor. He says best ball to fit between harsh, solid, and phase 2. Um, I mean, I think XL might fit in there nice. Got a weaker cover than both the harsh, solid, and the phase 2, but kind of more core like the harsh, solid, with it being an asymmetrical. So I think that would be a good option to fit in there. Other things you could consider. I mean, I guess a hyperdrive, but depending on how old your harsh is, the hyperdrive might be a bit stronger than the harsh solid now. Origin would be another one you could probably fit in there, but it would be way more angular than both the harsh solid and the phase 2. So if you wanted something smoother, like both those two balls are, then I'd go with the XL. If you want something that's just going to be kind of a bit different but fit in between those, I'd go with the Origin. How are we doing, Clifton? Nice to see you. Anybody got any more questions in relation to Arsenal's for Nationals? Let me know. I am off to Vegas today, so yeah, I don't think there'll be a show. There won't be a show on Thursday, but we should be back on track on Tuesday. Depending on how Chris is doing, he might do a show on Thursday, but not 100% sure. But yeah, we have new hustles also. I got the solid one, Tina got the pearl one. I haven't actually had a chance to drill either of those yet. Yeah, that one is still in the pipeline to come through. I'm going to try and put something together as a video for the Wrecker. Yeah, that would be kind of what I'm thinking for the next week or so. True House Ball. Would Tour Dynamics be good for team event? I could see that ball being quite useful on team event. Yeah. Is Chris sick? No, he's bowling the senior stop. Although, like I say, I tried to get the scores, and sometimes it updates and sometimes it doesn't, but then it defaults back to 18 games. On the League Pal stuff, it's not showing me the current standings. It's just showing me 18 games. And I've tried flicking through, and yeah, maybe I was on the wrong page. Let's see. Advances round. Oh, maybe this is what we need. Maybe it's finally updated. Physics blackout. I could see physics blackout being pretty good on doubles and singles. Maybe on team after the lanes kind of break down a little bit. But yes. Well, it's brand new, so to me, it's just your misses are exasperated a little bit. There's no kind of built-in track like there was at South Point. So yeah, that's not really helping so much. Oh dear, Chris isn't seemingly doing very well. Yeah, there he is. Chris. No, 854, not so good today. So he needed to make a move to get into that top 24. It doesn't look like he's going to. So that might be Chris's record of 2 weeks without making it. Yeah. So anyway, sorry. So in comparison to South Point, yeah, like I say, I think that South Point was a little bit more forgiving than it is in Baton Rouge, but I think that's just the nature of bowling on a new surface. Hey Matt, I'm thinking about Sublime Focus, Physics Blackout, Ion Pro, Optimum Idle, Road Warriors N25. Sounds like you have most of the things covered. Yeah, I think you have pretty decent options there. Hey Billy, I would if you went last year, I think it's kind of similar to last year. So for me, I think that trying to start kind of as far right as you need to make the ball consistently pick up, kind of using a bit of forward roll. So for me, it was about 12. For Tina, it was about 6. Yeah, I think the lane. I think having straighter angles through the front for the first 2 or 3 games is going to be pretty important. Somebody asked me how did Tina do. She had her worst Open Championships ever, I think. Team event was almost impossible for her and the other lady, Sandy, who we bowled with. Yeah, if they got it outside at all, it just never came back. And with their kind of slower speed, if they threw it up the lane, it hooked. And when they moved in, it felt like the ball would either burn up or, they couldn't get it there. So it wasn't much fun for them. Hey, John, because they use 2 different patterns. So that's basically why. She goes start of June, I think. The most brutal, the last day of the US Open in Nebraska. That pattern was really difficult. I didn't actually bowl the BJ. I don't really like bowling those events when I'm there. Just because of the nature of it and the fact that I'm a pro, it makes it a little difficult for me to find people to bowl with, and I just kind of like staying focused on what I'm doing with nationals. I may depending on what the schedule is, drive back over to Baton Rouge and try and get some squads in at the Bowlers Journal and the BTM. But yeah, it just like for me, I kind of just want to focus on what I'm doing at nationals. And the last couple of times I've only had a couple of days, I've been like in and out. We actually left the same day we bowled singles and doubles. So like for me, it's just more about focusing on that, trying to get as good a score as I can there. And then the last couple of years I've needed to go. If I could stay a couple of days afterwards, then that's probably where I would bowl it. I wouldn't bowl it before because I just feel like whatever you do, even as much as you convince yourself, like once you bowl in a different center on the patterns, it kind of fucks with your mind a little bit. And I think it's better to just, for me anyway, I'm fortunate I have access to being able to bowl on patterns and stuff at home. So like I don't really need practice on like flatter patterns. Like I kind of know what I'm going to do. So bowling on the same pattern that's just slightly different just makes it more complicated for me. So I just haven't done that in the last few years, and I think it's worked out better for me. Eli, so okay, if a bowler was going to bowl nationals for the first time and he was going to buy 5 bowling balls, what should they buy? It depends how they bowl, Eli, because obviously the 5 balls that somebody bowled kind of with similar specs to me, or the kind of balls that somebody bowled like Tina. Yeah, that's just the way it is, really. So, if it was me and I bowl like I bowl, I mean, I would I have 5 reactive balls in my spare ball, so I'd definitely take a spare ball regardless because that's the one ball I know for sure is going to match up perfectly to whichever lane condition we bowl on. It works the same everywhere. So I'm definitely taking that one. You're saying for a 2-hander? Okay, well, you're definitely taking your spare ball then. In that case, I would probably take a purple hammer / pitch black, because I think that's going to be the main way they're going to be able to control the fresh on the team event. So that's in. And then at the higher end, I think that something like something smoother and stronger. Like if I'm going to stay in reactive balls, I'm going to stay on the Storm side just because I kind of have a better idea for that. I think the Origin EX or XL, or if you're a bit more speed, Ion Max. So I'd have that as my big ball. I think Attention Star would be a good option for most two-handers. That one seems to work pretty well for the two-handers. And then I would end up having a couple of symmetrical balls to go with that. So maybe something like, depending on speed, maybe a phase 2. But that, if they were a little slower, that could be like IQ Tour. And I know I said symmetrical, but it could be IQ Tour Ion Pro. I mean, Ion Pro is almost kind of symmetrical anyway. And then as my extra ball, I would probably go with something like Zen 25 or Road Warrior to round it out. So Ion Max / XL, depending on whether they're super speed dominant. Attention Star, phase 2, Zen 25 or Road Warrior, Pitch Black, and then Spare Ball. That would be the 6 I would go with. Yeah, another ball that I haven't really figured that one out yet. For me, it's just it's one shot, it feels like it's going to hook. The next shot, it doesn't hook at all. That one has been really difficult for me. For my rev rate, I think it's a little difficult to use urethane on that team pattern because I think you're just too far left. So even though the level's reactive, it kind of rolls kind of like urethane, and I'm just too far left to be consistently getting it through the pins. You got a lot of ideas today. I think the PBA Tour and the Special Olympics should get together and host a team event. That being 2 pros and 2 special teams, each team of 4. I mean, there are a lot of things we could do, and that sounds like a fun thing. But you know, I don't know that it's on the agenda right now. We're struggling to organize the tournaments that we bowl. Never mind more special events. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend too much surface. Just kind of 1,000 probably the most you'd need. Just think that if you get too much surface on it, you're just going to see the lanes transition so quickly. Yeah. Hey, Billy. Yeah, I mean, it would be a strong replacement for it. Like the ultimate wreck is going to be a decent step up from the uproar. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. Hey, Jim. Thank you. Yeah. Figured a few things out. It's been a little bit more, a little bit easier last few weeks. Again, this is taped, so I already know the results, so I'm not going to make a suggestion. So yeah. Do you think the new TV will be better for the PPA or keep it the same? I don't think it's going to be better, but we will see. Everybody's got their fingers crossed. But I'm not sure. Fox were really good with us. So we will see what happens. There's a lot to play out yet before the end of the year. So fingers crossed for more opportunities, I think. I don't think we're going to see necessarily more money, but more opportunities would be nice. Yeah, just a couple. Missed a couple of spares. That was kind of annoying. And then I think that I made too big a ball jump on team when I changed. think if I'd have got into the XL, especially on the right lane, I think I would have probably been able to shoot kind of 220 the second game. And I think that would have been pretty huge, especially for brackets and stuff. And then the other one is that I wish in hindsight I'd thrown the attention star on the fill shot, because of game 5 of singles and doubles, so game 2 of singles, because I think that would have been a ball I could have changed to. I don't know for sure that it would have worked, but having that fill shot I think would have been a pretty good idea. Why wouldn't it be better? Well, money. And from what I saw, that CW deal was only 10 shows, but maybe I was wrong. So, and the other part of it is, although CW is in every home, sports fans don't really necessarily watch the CW. So, I think that you'll get less casual viewers than you would on something like, it clearly won't be as good as being on Fox, because nothing would be as good as being on Fox, basically. But yes, there are more access to the CW than Fox Sports 1, but at the same time, Fox did a lot of good things with us, so we will see. We will see how it goes. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. 10 shows isn't very many. Like, we had 10 shows just for the majors this year, so that's what I'm saying. Like, that's not that many shows. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because if you think about it, the World Series alone was like 2 for the World Championships, then 3 animal patents, and the oh god, what's it called? And the Reno Open from Coconut, and then the kids show as well. So yeah, there's a lot of space to fill for sure. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll see. I don't have enough. I don't have enough knowledge to suggest anything else. Just hopeful more than anything else. Hopefully find a good solution. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about that. But all I can say is Fox was great to work with. And it'll be a shame that they're gone. But they are, so we have to just move along. Do you need symmetrical and asymmetrical? What would be the 2 balls for a house shot? For me, I don't really like symmetrical balls on house shots very much. For me personally, I kind of prefer the asymmetrical. I think it blends the wet dry a little better for me. So yeah. I don't know, because the point is I could criticize them, but how would I know exactly? Like, it's all, I wasn't in the room, so I don't know whether Bolero did the right thing, the wrong thing. So yeah, I could criticize them. They may or may not find me, but it wouldn't really necessarily be fair to criticize them, because how would I know what the situation was? Does that kind of make sense? So yeah, in the perfect world, we would have stayed with Fox. They would have given us a raise. We'd have had more money, but that didn't happen. But I don't know that was Bolero's fault, or we just got to the point where Fox didn't want us, or Fox didn't want us at the price that made sense, or what. So all of those things, it's like, it's really easy to criticize, but it's just like, um, yeah, it's just all, he said, she said, maybe this, maybe that. Who knows? Um, I believe Bowl TV is still like, yeah, Bowl TV is still our partner for the streaming during the events and everything. Yeah, let's hope not. Um, so yeah, Rob Stone's an absolute superstar. Love Rob Stone. That's definitely one of the big negatives about, getting away from Fox. He was the guy who kind of helped us with the Fox thing along with Tom Clark. So um, yeah. Uh, yeah, it's kind of is what it is. We don't control it. Yeah, I agree. Dave Lamont is pretty good. I enjoy Dave Lamont. Um, the singles and doubles was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Just a slightly, seemed like there was a little bit more friction version of last year. Team, I felt like was way more brutal than I thought it was going to. Well, brutal in a different way. I knew it was going to be difficult, but I didn't imagine there'd be as much out of bounds to the right as there was. Yeah, it was insane. Like, it made the lane so narrow because there was so little of the lane you could actually use, especially on the fresh. Um, so be interesting to see what that one looks like when we get to see the graphs in like the middle of July. I would imagine it's going to be one of those Tetris looking pans, but we will see. Um, hey, Joshua. Team event nerfed my ass this year. Threw medium balls with surface really hard. The past 2 years, threw bigger balls with less surface just as hard this year. Too much speed to get through the pins. Yeah, there was definitely a lot of definitely a lot of oil down the lane for sure. It just, like I say, it was just a really challenging pattern. I mean, I'm not sure how appropriate it was for team. I saw a lady shoot 40. Yeah, 40. I saw a team shoot 1285. Now, they were a classified team, but they bowled 1285, 3-game total. 1285 is pretty fucking low. I mean, I can't imagine that they had fun spending $235 to average 85 as a team. Chris Barnes. Any local stuff you're planning on bowling in the future? Yeah, we've got a few tournaments coming up. Texas Ironman's coming up in like 12 days or something. So that's always a good one. If you want to bowl that, check it out. It's over at Plano Super Bowl this year. So have a look for that on Facebook. That's gonna be a good event. And then yeah, we got some regionals coming up. Longview doubles is coming up as well. So yeah, some stuff over Memorial Day, July 4th. So yeah, there's plenty of bowling to be done. Just trying to get over this finger. Sore again, having bowled. I ended up having to bowl twice yesterday, and that's not been a good thing for me recently. I went down and recorded some of this stuff for that Wrecker footage, and then bowl league. So yeah. Okay, guys. Well, thanks for joining us. I may well do a video, depending on how much time I get while I'm in Vegas. Slap together a bit of a video, kind of chatting about how I saw team event. Some of the balls I used, some of the layouts, a little bit more in depth. Um, some of the things to look out for, and then, yeah. So there we go. 300. Way to go. Said I'm classified. I did 8 pins in the 10th. Yeah, the team event was just impossible. Yeah, no, I understand. Plenty of us don't. It's only 9 games. I've been plenty of times where it hasn't worked out so well. On a pretty good run the last like 3 or 4 years, but before that there was times when, I really struggled as well. So, anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. We will hopefully have more content coming. I keep saying that. And we keep failing to deliver. So you don't necessarily have to believe me, but I appreciate all of you guys for showing out for the show. If you get a chance, please support some of the businesses that support us. They are Storm, Rotogrip, 900 Global, Coolwick, Bowlers Mart, Firelight Bowling Center, Lightning Strikes, Platinum Ford, and of course, my buddies up in Detroit, Turbo Grips. So thanks for watching. Please just continue to support bowling in general. For those of you who are still going to go to nationals, good luck. Be patient, and yeah, take care, and I'll see you later. Bye now.